This is a huge part of my story. It's why I talk about renewing your mind. I remember one time I was reading one of Paul's letters in the New Testament, and I got to this verse that scared me so bad. I felt like, how could this mean something other than what it sounds like? Because it sounds like God is ready and willing to send me to hell. I felt like I had to figure out what it was saying, and then I could move on. I had to know, am I misunderstanding this verse and I really can still trust God's grace when I make mistakes? Or was I right about him before when I was afraid of him? This is what I finally learned. We can't put our faith on hold until we have every question answered. The reason I was scared of passages like this is because I was reading them through fear instead of trust in God's character. What really changed for me was rejecting a view of God that was out of doubt and fear. When I intentionally changed that thought process, that's when scriptures like this started to clear up for me. What it comes down to is, how do we view God? Do we view him as someone who is ultimately for us, or as someone who is ultimately against us? When we ask God, he will answer. When we seek him, we will find him. When we knock, he'll answer the door. It is over time and time again of interacting with him and talking with him and spending time in his presence. The main thing is that we have the right perspective. When you look at the original words, which are in Greek, the word translated as narrow, it's literally describing something tight or focused. It's talking about a path that requires intentionality. Jesus is pointing out the difference between going through life on autopilot or just following whatever is easy versus walking deliberately. It's about the quality of the journey or walk, not the quantity of the people on it. And then the phrase, many are called but few are chosen. The calling is God's invitation to everyone, but the chosen are those who respond by trusting him and choosing to follow him. It's not describing luck or probability. It's the reality that responding to God takes an active faith and surrender. You have to be intentional about the walk. The way you take care of this is that anytime you come across the passage, it sounds scary and you think, I'm probably not going to make it. That's not coming from God. It is the enemy leveraging our doubts about God and how trustworthy he is with the fact that scripture was written in a completely different time and culture. We start to question God instead of our understanding of what we're reading. And the way we renew our mind in this context is that anytime we look at scripture, it has to be through the lens of God's character and not our assumptions or fears. God is loving and he's for us and he's actively pursuing us. He is not trying to scare us. When you choose to be intentional with reading passages like these through the right perspective, you might still not completely understand it, but you won't be scared anymore.